Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. September 26, 2024. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. We're in Zaya Al Hamra, just outside Cairo, near the Ismailia Canal. It's relatively quiet. Someone's just taking a walk along the bank.
Yeah, just a normal morning walk until it absolutely isn't. They spot something strange in the water.
Something off, and as they get closer, the shape becomes clearer. It's human-like. And then the horror hits. It's a leg, a human leg.
The scream must have been piercing. People gather, police are called, and very quickly they find a second leg nearby, just submerged there.
So right away, this isn't just a tragic discovery. It signals something methodical, something really disturbing about how this person died and was disposed of.
Absolutely. And the forensic teams on scene picked up on crucial details almost immediately. The legs that weren't decomposed, they looked, well, clean, almost too clean.
Meaning they hadn't been in the water long?
Exactly. The estimate was maybe 6 hours, maximum.
Oh.
So this victim was likely alive or only recently deceased around dawn that same day this crime just happened.
And there was more, wasn't there? Something about the way the legs were separated?
That's the detail that really shifts the investigation into high gear from the start. The medical examiner confirmed the victim was a young man, probably in his 20s, but the cuts, they were described as uniform, clean.
Not ragged or torn like you might expect from, I don't know, a frantic attack.
Precisely. This wasn't crude violence. The precision strongly suggested a machine. Specifically, they suspected an electric saw in the estimate. The dismemberment likely happened about an hour after death.
An electric saw. Wow. Okay, that single detail just paints a chilling picture, doesn't it? Cold intent, preparation. This wasn't impulsive.
Not at all. It points towards someone who knew what they were doing, or at least planned to do it.
So who was this young man? How did he end up here? We need to step back from the canal for a moment and understand who Mina Moussa was.
Mina Moussa, just 20 years old, originally from Minya, and by all accounts, just a really dedicated, respected young man, the oldest child in his family.
And that family context is key, isn't it? He had 4 younger sisters.
Yes, and his father was preparing them for marriage, which, as you can imagine, created a significant financial pressure on the family. Mina felt that weight deeply. He worked relentlessly to help support them.
He sounds incredibly responsible. What was his background?
He was smart, really capable. He'd actually graduated with an electrical diploma, but his passion was elsewhere. He chose to go into nursing, attended a nursing institute. He loved the medical field, the idea of service.
And he was good at it.
Exceptionally good. He worked in a very specialized area, infant nurseries, at a major hospital in his village. Doctors, colleagues, they really relied on his skills. And beyond his paid work, he volunteered for years, unpaid, in charitable services, just driven by a sense of duty.
But despite all this hard work and skill, he was still struggling financially.
His income was described as medium, enough to get by maybe, but not enough to really build the future he wanted for himself and his family or to continue his studies. So he was always looking, always searching for better opportunities, especially in Cairo.
That ambition, that drive, it's heartbreaking because it seems like that's what the perpetrators exploited.
It is. His best qualities, his diligence, his desire to provide, his inherent trust, perhaps made him, tragically, the perfect target for what came next.
And that came in the form of what seemed like a dream job offer.
Exactly. Presented by a friend and colleague, a guy named Milad. Milad told Mina about this fantastic opportunity in Cairo, a home nursing job, looking after an elderly man with Alzheimer's.
High pay, right? And accommodation included.
Yes. High pay and free accommodation. It ticked all the boxes for Mina. It seemed like the perfect solution, solving his financial worries and getting him to Cairo for his studies.
But how did Milad know about it?
Milad claimed he'd been offered the job himself months prior, but had to turn it down because of his mandatory military service. So he said he was offering it to Mina as a friend. It sounded completely plausible.
Did Mina's family buy it?
His parents were uneasy. They actually asked him to refuse the job. They had a bad feeling. But Mina, he was so excited. He saw this as his one big chance, his pathway. His enthusiasm eventually convinced his father to agree.
And this wasn't some quick, shady offer. The setup was sophisticated.
Incredibly sophisticated. This is key. They didn't just send a dodgy text message. They created a whole facade, a professional-sounding agency, proper application forms. They even simulated background checks.
So it felt completely legitimate.
Totally. It wasn't about vetting Mina. It was about building his confidence, making him feel secure. It was psychological bait, designed to attract someone exactly like him. Honest, ambitious, trustworthy.
So Mina heads to Cairo. stays with his sister briefly, then makes his way to Zaya al-Hamra for the job.
Full of hope, completely unaware he's walking straight into a trap. Around 11 a.m. on that day, he sends a message to his family.
The last message they'd get from him sounding normal.
Yes, it just said, "I have arrived at the job and started work." Simple, reassuring.
And then
His phone went dead immediately after sending the message. At first, the family might have brushed it off, maybe thought it was his old phone acting up, but the silence stretched on.
until the next day, when the real nightmare began.
The family receives this absolutely chilling voice message. It's Mina's voice, but he sounds wrong, strained, under duress.
What'd it say?
Basically, "I am fine, but don't involve the police. Pay the money so I can return." These are their instructions. Terrifying. You can only imagine their panic.
And then the demand came.
Less than an hour later, a call comes through. A woman identifying herself as Gurges demands 120,000 Egyptian pounds, a huge sum for them. She claims Mina is fine, but he's being held far away in Fayum.
But something felt off about that call, too.
Mina's uncle took over the negotiation. He was sharp. He insisted on hearing Mina's voice again, proof of life. Gurges refused. That refusal, plus the whole tone, made the uncle suspicious. He recorded the rest of the call and rushed straight to the police in El Marg where they lived.
And the police found something crucial in that recording.
Immediately, law enforcement listened to the tape. The woman's voice, Gurges, it was clearly, definitively, a man imitating a woman's voice, probably using some kind of voice modulation or just skillful imitation.
Wow. Okay, so not a typical kidnapping gang. This smells like fraud from the start, but obviously escalated terribly.
Exactly. That faked voice was the first major red flag that the people behind this weren't who or what they seemed. It suggested deception layered on top of whatever violent plan was unfolding.
But back in Zaya al-Hamra, the police had the body parts, but no local missing person report matched.
Right, that was the initial hurdle. The victim had to be a stranger to that area. It took some coordination, but eventually they connected the horrific discovery at the canal to the missing person report filed by Mina's uncle back in El Marg.
And then came another awful discovery.
While the DNA tests were being rushed using samples from Mina's father and uncle, police got another call. A human arm, found in a trash bin in the same general area near the canal.
Oh no! So the family.
Mina's father and uncle raced to the morgue. They didn't even need to wait for DNA confirmation for the arm.
Why not?
There was a distinctive tattoo on the arm. They recognized it instantly. It was Mina's. The father just collapsed right there. Utter devastation, reportedly screaming, "Why kill him? I would have paid anything." Just gut-wrenching grief.
So now they knew for sure it was Mina. The investigation must have zeroed in on that Zaya al-Hamra location.
Absolutely. All focus shifted there. They started meticulously reviewing security camera footage from around the canal where the legs were found. They find footage of Mina.
Meeting someone.
Yes, meeting a man. Frustratingly, the man's features were obscured, hard to make out clearly. But the crucial part was where this man led Mina.
Where?
He led him down a specific street, deliberately chosen it seemed, because it had no surveillance cameras. A blind spot. These perpetrators knew the area. They planned the route.
Incredible planning. They're closing in, but they need that final piece.
And it comes from an unexpected source. A local shop owner.
What did they know?
This shop owner, running an electrical supply store nearby, contacted the police. He remembered something specific. 5 days earlier, he'd sold an electric saw.
To
a man fitting the description of a male nurse named Mostafa. And this Mostafa lived nearby, supposedly in an apartment caring for an elderly Alzheimer's patient.
the electric saw. It matches the forensic report perfectly. That's the link.
It's a final piece of the puzzle clicking into place. Method, victim, location, and now a potential suspect linked directly to the probable murder weapon.
So the police moved in?
Immediately. They used cell phone data triangulation combined with the shop owner's information to pinpoint the exact apartment.
And what did they find?
They found Mostafa, the nurse who bought the saw, and another man, Ibrahim, who worked as a chef. The police arrested them on the spot.
What was their motive? Just the money.
Chillingly simple, yes. They'd apparently started with smaller online job scams, just fraud. But they decided they wanted to sort of level up to kidnapping for ransom. They saw Mina's picture, likely after Milad referred him, and decided he looked like someone whose family could and would pay.
So Milad wasn't just a friend passing on an opportunity.
The implication seems to be that Milad might have unwittingly, or perhaps wittingly, pointed them towards Mina as a suitable target, though the primary perpetrators caught were Mostafa and Ibrahim.
So what happened when Mina got to that apartment?
Mustafa met him outside, let him in. Mina himself apparently noted just before things turned violent that the apartment felt weirdly deserted, even frightening. The elderly patient he was hired to care for, nowhere in sight.
That must have been his last moment of unease.
It seemed so. As Mustafa locked the apartment door behind them, Ibrahim emerged from another room. He was carrying a heavy iron pipe.
And he attacked Mina.
Struck him hard on the head. Mina was knocked unconscious instantly. They then robbed him, took his wallet, his phone, any money he had.
And that's when they sent the message.
Yes. While Mina was unconscious, Mustafa used Mina's own phone to send that message saying, "I've arrived and started work." It was a cold, calculated move to create a false timeline, to make the family think he was safe and working for hours after he was already attacked.
Buying themselves time. But Mina eventually woke up.
He did, and understandably, he started screaming for help. This panicked Mostafa and Ibrahim. They were worried the neighbors would hear.
So they threatened him again.
Mostafa grabbed a larger iron pipe this time. They forced Mina, terrified, to record that ransom voice message for his family. But even after they finished recording, Mina kept screaming, desperate.
And that led to the final fatal act.
Yes. Mustafa, fearing exposure, struck Mina again with the pipe. And as a trained nurse, Mustafa knew immediately that this second blow was different. It wasn't just incapacitating, it was fatal. He knew Mina was dead.
The moment the crime shifted from kidnapping and extortion to murder, what did they do then?
The panic seemed to have turned cold very quickly. Mustafa, the nurse, the one who worked in infant nurseries, he asked Ibrahim to go out and bring back food, and crucially, large black trash bags.
Well, Ibrahim was gone.
Mustafa dragged Mina's body into the apartment bathroom. When Ibrahim returned with the food and bags, he found Mustafa using the electric saw.
The saw he bought days earlier.
The very same. And Mustafa apparently admitted to Ibrahim that he'd originally bought the saw just to scare Mina during the kidnapping, just as a threat, a prop.
A prop that became the tool for that. Unbelievable.
A horrific escalation born from panic and a desire to cover up the murder.
How long after Mina's death did this happen?
They waited about 3 hours after Mina died. Then, together, they dismembered the body in the bathroom, placed the parts in the black trash bag.
And then they just walked out.
Waited until it was dark. Then, with what police described as astonishing composure, they calmly walked through the neighborhood streets.
Carrying the bags.
Carrying the bags. They disposed of the legs in the canal first, then they scattered the arms and the other remaining parts in different trash bins and locations around the area.
Thinking that scattering the parts would make it impossible to connect everything.
That seems to have been the plan. Hiding the evidence in plain sight, spread across a busy urban area, just walking among people carrying those bags. The coldness is hard to fathom.
But their plan failed. The police found them.
Yes. The cell phone data pinning them to the location, the shop owner's testimony about the saw, and the physical evidence found inside the apartment, the rope they likely used to restrain Mina, the blood-stained iron pipe, and crucially, Mina's wallet and phone still in their possession. It was overwhelming.
The case must have caused a huge public reaction.
Massive outrage. The sheer brutality, the calculated deception targeting a dedicated young man trying to help his family. It resonated deeply. Ultimately, both Mustafa and Ibrahim were convicted, and their cases were referred to the Grand Mufti, which in Egypt is the step before confirming a death sentence.
When you step back and look at the whole thing, it's the calculation that's so chilling. Using Mina's own good nature, his ambition against him.
Absolutely. And the fact that the electric saw, this instrument of such horror, was initially just meant as a prop to scare him. It speaks volumes about how quickly things spiraled, and the disconnect between their initial plan, probably just extortion, and the monstrous reality of their actions.
It really highlights how these kinds of online or seemingly professional setups can be fronts for something far darker.
Exactly. This case is a terrible illustration of how sophisticated scams, starting online or through seemingly legitimate channels, can escalate into violent physical crimes. That professional job ad wasn't professional vetting. It was carefully crafted bait designed to lure in someone exactly like Mina, dependable, trusting, and desperate for a better chance.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? They thought they were being so careful, covering their tracks, choosing camera blind spots, scattering the evidence.
But in the end, what brought them down? Tiny, almost random details. A unique tattoo that a grieving father instantly recognized. A single purchase of an electric saw from a local shop remembered by the owner. Things they probably thought were insignificant, untraceable.
So here's something to really chew on. How often do these seemingly minor details, these everyday transactions or identifying marks, end up being the key that unlocks a major complex crime? What small detail in this case stands out the most to you?